Episode of the Ari Lewis Show here on Israel National Radio, Root Sheva. The show is syndicated as the Messiah Hour on YouTube. Go to YouTube and type in Messiah Hour with Ari Lewis and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is free to do so. A reminder that I'm on JApp. JApp is a Jewish application which features lectures from big rabbis and historians and episodes of this program. You can find JApp from iTunes or Google Play stores, or you can go to their website, www.j-app.me, and of course the email is messiahhour@gmail.com. The election is upon us. March 17th, the big day, which will play a hand in determining the Prime Minister of Israel and the parties in charge. And on the line right now to talk about this world of politics, the co-author of the book World of the Ger. You can find his website solmazal.com and gergear.com. Back to the program, Rabbi David Katz. Rabbi, how you doing out there?
Hey, Ari, how's it going? Glad to be back as always.
Yes, indeed. It's good to have you on this very special night coming up. Now, let's talk a bit about politics in Israel, how the scene is. Now, I mentioned this on a different broadcast on Blog Talk Radio. You have a high percentage of people voting in Israel. It's about 90%. What is the situation like in Sfat? Are there a lot of people that vote in the Sfat area?
Yeah, politicians are a lot like used car salesmen, Ari.
Okay. How so? I mean, they're the same breed. I understand that. They don't really answer questions.
As all night long as I'm sitting here, Erev elections, I'm thinking to myself, when I bought a car used, it's like, why does it have to be that I have to be paranoid that there's, X amount of problems the guy's not telling me?
Right. Okay.
And it's like I have to think, like, how many things is it, could go wrong? Why should politics be that way? Like, why do we have to be afraid? Like, if we vote for Bibi, like, please don't give back the Shtachim. Please don't give back the Shtachim. Please don't give back. Right? And it really shouldn't be like a used car salesman.
That's a great analogy. Okay, I get it now. And I'll tell you, that is certainly a concern because when people elected Sharon, I think the last thing they thought he would do was the pull out from.
That's it. I mean, you're seriously kind of like paranoid of what, just don't get me too bad,
Yeah. So let's basically, in a nutshell, the final two candidates. We'll try to get to the political party system. It is vastly different for the United States, but in a nutshell, the prime minister will most likely be either Bibi or Sivni Livni. Let's talk about. We've had Bibi since 2008. This is the second go around. He was prime minister for a few years in the 90s. If Bibi wins, and he's a few points down at this point, but if he wins, what does more Bibi mean?
Right. So that, along with the first thing about Sfat is, I don't know, Sfat's like an eclectic town. Everyone's kind of, I think, just pro-religion, however that goes. But then, there's a lot of Americans here, and so American means Bibi. I think a lot of times it translates that way, especially after the big successful Congress speech that Bibi gave. So more Bibi. I saw an article on Facebook tonight, and I think it about summed it up the best. We just need one more term from Bibi. I think nobody's looking long term at this point. He's already been there 9 years. If we can just get 18 more months of solid leadership without wavering, I think that'll be a big victory.
Really? Okay, so people look at him, or you're looking at him as a stopgap guy. He needs to buy time for us before we get someone else in there.
Kobe Bryant, Lakers.
Very good. Very good. If you're listening, don't know that analogy, you should. Go Yahoo and Google, and you'll figure out what the rabbi's talking about. Okay, so he's the legacy. He hangs on. We need something to keep us until the next guy. Okay, right. But in the next 18 months, there could be a major situation with Iran, and Bibi is strong about that. And I think anyone, even people that dislike him, have to agree that he takes this issue seriously. So what about that aspect? Dealing with Iran, having Bibi in charge instead of someone else.
So just like the used car analogy, right? It's like just as long as the engine head doesn't run out, major problems don't go, we're okay. Because basically if we don't want Obama to pressure to give up the shtachim, the settlements, right? So as long as we can weather that storm, 18 months, economically stay steady, and then just follow through on the Iranian thing. I think that's all anybody wants, because we can always putz around with the Palestine issue. That's not going to be changed overnight. Economically, we're very good. Yair Lapid wants to bring down housing and the prices of houses. That should hopefully be fixed. That's not a crisis. And again, we're on a timetable with Iran. Bibi put us up from a year. There's going to be immense pressure. And for all the end of days enthusiasts, I think we want to see what's going on with Iran. We had a little scare with Putin. We thought he was dead. Turns out he's not. And so as long as Putin keeps everything straight by him with Ukraine, we're looking for a Bibi Iranian showdown, which is, here's another sports little thing for you. Pacquiao and Floyd. Yeah. Right? Everybody wanted that fight. The fight's going to happen. So everybody wants the fight of Israel and Iran. And this election will go a very big way in securing that main event.
Okay, so speaking of sports analogies, let's throw you a curveball. How about this? Yes. Bibi's been talking about Iran for years, and in 2011 he gave a speech to Congress saying that Iran was going to get the bomb within 9 months. That didn't happen unless we secretly don't know about it for some reason. But what I'm trying to say is we haven't seen them fight yet. Bibi just keeps saying we got to stop them from getting the bomb, and we'll defend ourselves if need be. But has he even done anything? He's kind of just been talk mostly, right?
There's been a lot of crazy little espionage stuff going on. Like we had the Stuxnet virus kick things off. Sports analogy.
There you go.
And we've had some people randomly being bombed at the wayside. Right, some good deaths along the way. Some Revolutionary Guards killed on the border. We had some troops taken out. So they've had their little tit for tat. Right, they've played their table tennis long enough.
Okay, so he has done something. Well point. Again, if you're just joining us, this is the Ari Lewis Show on Israel National Radio, Route Sheva, and the show is syndicated as Messiah Hour on YouTube. And you can go to YouTube and type in Messiah Hour with Ari Lewis and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is free to do so. And my guest this afternoon, Rabbi David Katz, co-author of the book The World of the Ger. Let's talk about, we mentioned briefly, Bibi and economic growth. How would you judge him so far in the 7+ years, what have you, he's been prime minister this time around, as far as economic growth? Because people complain about low wages all the time, complaining that housing for some reason goes up even though wages stay the same or feel like they go down, and all these different issues. 70% of Israelis are in the red and the minus. So is that Bibi's fault, or has Bibi done better than we give him credit for?
In Sfat, people complain that the cab fares went up 3 shekels. If that tells you how the market is. But seriously, I don't know. It's a crazy question, because everyone knows that the Israel startup, Silicon Valley, Israel, Tel Aviv, is world renowned, right? Then there's your knee-jerk reaction pundits that'll say, oh, but it's an overrated market. It's hard to tell. I mean, bottom line is, I think in Israel a lot of people kind of choose to be poor. That might be a controversial statement, but extreme religion tends to do that. The Abishur will provide, sit in kollel, milk the government. There's a lot of issues here. It's not pashut. It's simple to say that we are poor in Israel. Sfat is on record for being one of the poorest cities. I read an article, and when Naftali Bennett was here speaking, they wanted answers of economic growth. And again, I think a lot of people here are not motivated. I know that the motivated people, they do better. Every society and culture has their little things. So it's very hard to get an objective viewpoint. I mean, you really can't look at the Haredim and get an objective viewpoint here. I mean, by definition, they have a philosophical view of sit and kollel. So they're not working by religious choice, which that's the whole premise of Yair Lapid, that they should go out and get jobs and learn secular education. So to fight that, they say, no, we're going to drink coffee and smoke cigarettes. Have a nice day. So everybody has their thing, and everybody wants the government basically to shut up and give me my money. It's that bad, When Shas sits there in the cabinet, it's like, yeah, we can get rid of Shtachim, no problem. Just give, how many million shekels? 4 billion shekels? Yeah, give it to yeshivas. We are running out of coffee, and so everyone wants their piece of the pie. I think we see that worldwide, certainly in American politics. Obama, if anything, aside from conspiracy theories, he certainly wants his piece of the pie, and all of his friends, Rahm Emanuel and all those guys, they're getting theirs. And the Republicans in the House want theirs. So here it's no different. Everybody wants their piece. That's all the Knesset really is. It's just a guarantee you get your piece of the pie. Another article I saw, that Bennett could have stopped a prisoner release. But he didn't. Why? Because then the government would have broken apart, and he doesn't get his piece of the pie.
Right.
And then you bring in your lobbies, and your endorsements, and your promises, and your illegal actions like Olmert in Israel politics. So you have a nice little cholent of things going on. And that's just what we know. What we don't know, we would probably be horrified if we knew. But in a normative sense, I think there really are issues that are real. These things have been going on since the beginning of time. But one issue that I saw that Bennett spoke about, and this is a great issue. I really like this one a lot. I personally believe in the avenue that David Ben Gurion took when he was around. That the key to a successful Israel is a built-up Negev. And I had the opportunity to visit the Negev in, I think, 2013. I went to, my mind froze, man. Sorry about that.
No problem.
This is about the static.
Right.
Hold on. Mr. Ramon. Okay. I'm gonna say I had the opportunity. Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
I had the mitzvah. Oh, sorry. Take two. This is mind-boggling. I had the opportunity to visit Mitzvah Ramon in the Negev, and while there, I got to see all the chemical factories and all the production stuff, and more importantly, the new IDF headquarters are being moved to the Negev from the Tel Aviv downtown main location. And so they think that this is the beginning of what could build up the Negev. Now, Bennett brought up something even more interesting. What if we were to do the same thing to a northern command in the Galil and build up the Galil that way? He thought that it wouldn't be as successful because Jews don't want to go back to being basic farmers, right? It's more attractive to be in the high-tech industry in Beersheba, right, than to cultivate the land in the Galil. But I'll close on this point, on this point, is that I think the greatest thing, aside from all the startup stuff we've seen, one thing that Bibi could have the opportunity to launch, or in sports terms, to kick off, right, is a man-made secondary Suez Canal from a lot going out through the port of Haifa. I saw an article about this, that you could rival, the Egyptian side in the Suez Canal with an Israeli Suez Canal through the land of Israel, shipping, kind of like drop off your stuff and then truck it over, and ultimately build a new canal. I think that is just one of the most fascinating concepts I've seen. The pundits have thrown around about a financial coup that could happen with Israel.
Again, this is the Ari Lewis Show on Israel National Radio, Root Sheva. The show is syndicated as Messiah Hour on YouTube. Go to YouTube and type in Messiah Hour with Ari Lewis and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is free to do so. Of course, email is messiahhour@gmail.com. And our guest is Rabbi David Katz, co-author of the book, The World of the Ger. Let's talk about Bibi and Bayit Yehudi. You talk about Naftali Bennett. That's a bit of an issue because votes that go to Bennett could go away from Bibi, et cetera, all those type of things. So talk about that aspect.
The best thing I've seen justifying this is that Bibi says he's not going to give back the settlements, and Bennett says he is. I've heard from somebody in Likud personally that told me that there's a plan to annex the Shtachim. So once I heard that and Bennett say it, here we go back to our used car salesman. I think we're buying a lemon.
By the way, real quick, I just want to clarify. Are you saying that Bennett says Bibi will give up the settlements, or are you saying Bennett says he would give up the settlements if he is prime minister?
Bennett says that Bibi 100% wants to annex the Shtachim.
Okay.
Right? And I think this is our lemon. I think Bibi would and will do that. I just think he gave back Hebron. If you research what Likud is all about, this is published online. And it's not on Jeb's go get 'em conspiracy theory aliensvisited.com, right? It's like Likud website. That the methodology of Likud, and this goes back to the days of real early right wing until they became more central or more towards the center, is that, Likud by definition was Transjordan, right? A greater Israel. So when the Arabs have a fear of Israel going river to river, that really came from the fear of the early Likud. And so once Jordan became legitimate as a legitimate country, meaning nobody today outside of the conspiracy stuff and really right-wing Zionism talks about Jordan coming down. We all acknowledge Jordan is a country. Even though we might want to call it the real Palestinian state, nobody suggests that Jordan should cease to exist. So once that happened, Jordan became legitimate. They became legitimized worldwide. Therefore, Likud has an official viewpoint to begrudge her neighbors until legitimate, and then they cave in and say, okay, you win. And that's actually their policy. And so they did. And they dropped the Transjordan kind of mantra, even though they might say, we are a greater Israel. They're not actively bringing down Jordan. Now, again, you can go to your conspiracy theories and say we're trying to make a coup of Arab Spring in Jordan, and maybe it's true, but as an overt policy, that is not happening. And what we see happening, especially since the right have come to power in Israel, the Arab nations, spearheaded by Palestine, are trying to legitimize Palestine. Why? Because this is how you do it. Right? The more they legitimize Palestine, then theoretically Likud would say, well, okay, you guys are here. What can we do? And then it's over. You have a Palestinian state. And so Bennett is calling Bibi on that. Bibi's party sets precedent with that. But yet we all know Bibi is the better prime minister. Bennett is not going to have an effect on Congress like Bibi had. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to figure that out. So when you put it all together, the political landscape, Lapid wants to kill Judaism. He's no good, right? Even though he's right and they should be working, it doesn't justify destroying yeshivas, just even ideologically. So that's no good. Livni and her boyfriend, they are about as repulsive as you can come by on any standard whatsoever. You basically, to get into them, you have to be a self-hating person. That should be obviously clear. And this is not, I wouldn't even consider that an opinion. She's just downright nasty. That leaves Bibi and Bennett, right? And so Bibi, we want to be the prime minister one more term, and Bennett should be your checks and balances. No false moves, or we're going to pull the card out on the government. Everybody else is just part of the pie, getting their money, except for the Arabs, who they're going to get a lot of seats, and they want to bring the country down. And that just tells you the diversity of Israel might not be such a great thing. That we have like 20 parties, it's ridiculous. And this is what happens when you have that many parties.
All right, last question we have in this segment. You touched upon the Haredim to some degree. What exactly is Bibi's stance on the Haredim, if he believes that they should work, funding yeshivas, all that kind of stuff. What do you think Bibi will do? What has he done in the past regarding the Haredi?
That's a great question, but it really depends on the coalition. When you had Avadi Yosef running around, Bibi was going to buckle to Avadi Yosef to the tune of many, many, many shekels. The yeshivas were going to get their money. He's nifter. You don't really have any big guns now. You're looking at Eli Yishai and Aryeh Deri. Aryeh Deri can call some of his mafioso friends, right? I mean, it's all backroom deals and shady. If Yair Lapid gets seats, it's going to be more difficult. Livni's no friend of Israel in terms of religious Israel. I think Bibi is going to just try to, again, this is what you get from Bibi. You're not getting anything great. You're not getting any groundbreaking discovery or, right, just, keep everything steady. Don't ruin it. And Bibi seems focused on Iran. If he's going to have one big boom, let it be Iran. That seems where he wants to go. Congress speech was his best to date. It seems like that's his destiny. Everything else, Bibi's just average. And in Israel, that might go a long way.
All right, this is part one of the Ari Lewis Show here on Israel National Radio, Root Sheva. The show is syndicated as Messiah Hour on YouTube. Go to YouTube and type in Messiah Hour with Ari Lewis and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It is free to do so. You can email me, messiahhour@gmail.com. If you'd like to make a financial contribution to the program, the PayPal account is israelsportsradio@yahoo.com. We'll take a quick break, and we'll have more on the other side with Rabbi David Katz, co-author of the book, The World of the Ger. You can find that book on gergear.com, sobazal.com, and on Amazon. So we'll have more on the other side. This is the Ari Lewis Show on IsraelNationalRadio.com.